Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is Monday, February 8th. It's about 1:14 p.m. on the West Coast, and let's recap Monday. So first off, just starting with the index here from the watch list here on the left. Most indices are all up about 0.7% today. The Russell 2000 was the big gainer, up 2.5%. So that's 2,000 stocks make up that index. So it's a lot of the small caps, so the money's rotating now back into the smaller companies, and that 227.31 is right at its all-time high that it set today. Probably the big news was early this morning with Bitcoin. Tesla disclosed that they bought 1.5 billion in Bitcoin. So that sent the price of Bitcoin up to new all-time highs. That's what this chart is here. This is Bitcoin futures / BTC. So this doesn't have weekend trading on it, which Bitcoin does trade 24/7. So the chart's a little off from what you find on like Coinbase, but as you see today, so from the low 38,000 all the way to 45,500, and we're looking to push up back in there again. It's been sitting around 43 kind of last 2 hours today, and then now back up in the 44s. Usually Bitcoin has a pretty good run at the Hong Kong and London opens later tonight, so that'll be a time to look at what the buying activity is there. But obviously with Bitcoin running, Bitcoin stocks have been going, or companies that are associated with Bitcoin. MARA, M-A-R-A, Marathon Patent Group, it's been a Bitcoin play since about 2017. They've done reverse splits in the past, but you see the last 3 months it's been moving. Chart looks very similar to Bitcoin, right? So you had that recent pullback and then pop. So this is up at its all-time high today, and very big green bar, right? So pretty dang bullish all day, closed right at its high. And then if you go down in here to the 5 minute, you'll see just steady uptrend, and then after hours we're already up another 70 cents. So this is more than likely going to keep running. Another name that moves in sympathy with it is Riot Blockchain RIOT. Look at their daily charts, very similar to Mara. Obviously they're directly correlated to how Bitcoin is doing, and so its price right now very similar to Mara. So it's either pick your poison on these two stocks. Interactive Brokers doesn't have either of them available to short, which is kind of disappointing. When Bitcoin does drop, it drops pretty quick, so you can't play it up or down. But it'd be interesting to see how this moves after hours. This is still already up, 90 cents here, over a dollar now for Riot. Probably keeps moving after hours, and could be a good gap up for tomorrow morning. The big gainer today, let's go back to the daily. Ocugen, it's a Indian company. They have a COVID vaccine that's been very successful there, and there's talks that they're gonna bring it to the U.S. to distribute out, and so that was the news on this run from last week. So big green candle, doji red bar, another little doji red bar, and then a big candle on Friday. And then they announced yesterday that they were going to price 3 million share stock offering at a premium, and so that's sent it off to the races today. I'll probably look at a 5 minute be better. But as you can see, so continuing from Friday, solid after hour movement up, and then today in pre-market hours, kind of a sideways tightening up consolidation area right in the between $8 and $9, and then right before the open we started taking off, started curling up, halted several times this morning, and then as you see late morning came back in here, pulled back into the moving averages and held, and then we kept going, spiking all the way higher up to 18.77. so it was up almost 250% on the day, still closed up 200% of the day at 15.81. So look to see if this has legs tomorrow, or if it sells off. Realistically, I think probably on the daily, the R side way way overbought right now at 92, but as we saw with SAVA and AVXL, things were running all the way up high to 97, 98 on the RSI. So especially in this market with everything being bullish, could keep going. Another big gainer, BSquare Corp. It ran on Friday too. Had a bigger move actually on Friday. As you can see here, this huge wick on top. That's not something you usually like to see. It's pretty indicative of a huge sell-off. Could have been like a pump and dump type scheme, but we gapped higher today and still had solid volume. Good pre-market. As soon as this thing opened up, 2 minutes in, shoots up, pulls back to 200, and just squeezes its way up. And then midday sell-off, one more spike, but we closed above all the moving averages, so could look for this thing to continue cranking tomorrow. Next we'll go to MVIS Microvision. They've had some news out recently and have been steadily uptrending for about the past 2 months. Got a big spike back in December, pulled back to 22, tighten, and then as soon as we retested this high of 974, we've been off to the races since last Wednesday. Big green day today. On really not much news. I don't believe they had any. Yeah, it was just they said that different tech companies are going to look at for the stimulus packages that DC is going to be putting out here this week. Right, so pretty exaggerated move quickly in the morning, holding the 9, holds the 22, came back to the 50, set a new high. This crossover here, right? So when the 9 crossed 22, you have one here earlier too, but it wasn't very sharp, and you had some weakness here at the top. This probably would have been a good spot to short, even down in here. 14.8, 14.9, so it's still definitely below the 9, and then say it rejects the 50, can ride that down a little bit lower. That would have been a good one today. I didn't see that one live. Just looking back after it later would have been a good spot to enter. And then SAVA, Cassava Sciences, back in play today with a big bounce off its 9 moving average. So closed right about the 9 on Friday. Big green candle up today. They put out some news. Some good PR by the company, right? So a smart move by their management team to talk about their milestones for the upcoming year with their Alzheimer's drug research and their phase 3 that they'll be doing. So you got a good bounce off that, some chop here in the morning, and then off the 200 1 minute average up into the low 60s, pulled back a little bit, all the way up to test 69, then we sold off, closing right about $60. So if you go back to the daily chart, just look where it's at. So we poked it up higher here. We're back inside the average trading range, so we could shop around in here a little bit until things calm down or they get some more news out on their drug. So then let's go over to Clean CLNE, Clean Energy Fuel Corporation. They had a deal for supplying alternative fuels for Los Angeles. I think it was so many millions of barrels. And so as you see, their price has gone up since the election, with President Biden being elected, and the move away from gas and coal. And so huge gap up today, from $13 up to 16, so $3 gap. Let's go to 5 minute. So big gap up, and then kind of trade sideways all day. If you want to say this here forms a pennant, right? Probably draw one there, right? So you can call it triangle, breaks a triangle, moves up higher, sets a new high. Late 11, late in the afternoon, stays up pretty high, now selling off after hours. So we'll watch this one tomorrow morning. And then another company moving in sympathy, Westport Fuel Systems. They had a big big spike Friday after hours. They had a fuel contract as well. A weaker chart today, right? So really, this is just a consolidation day off the news. Especially, you probably can see on the 1 hour better, right? So price stayed pretty tight in the 12s, but we're still above the lows from yesterday's, or excuse me, Friday's after market move. So it could get some consolidation. Probably look for tomorrow whether or not it'll break out of this $12 range. This candle's probably not indicative because you had that first sell-off spike first thing in the morning down 11.5. But I'd look for probably a move short under 12, long over 12.5. And then last, let's go quickly through marijuana sectors. So CGC has earnings tomorrow before the open. It kind of didn't move much today. That's one of the ones in the sector that didn't really move. But Aphria, so Aphria Pharmaceutical, they're a German company. They spiked up pretty good today, up 13%. Right out the chute, off $17 up to 19.4, closing pretty close to its highs. And like I mentioned in my earnings video, the marijuana plays usually they'll move together. So all these companies will react to CGC's earnings and guidance tomorrow. So these three should be on alert. So Aphria, CGC, and then lastly ACB. It had a strong day too. I talked in the earnings play about, I think it was on the weekly one. All right, if it can get over this $15 50-week moving average, it poked 15 today. It's good to go to the 5 minute. I always click the 1. Right, touched right at 15, didn't get over it. So we'll see if we can cross that here in the after hours and look to get a leg up tomorrow on CGC's earnings. So those are the stocks I was looking at today. Let me know in the comments if you were looking at them. If you got something out of this, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.